Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ted, and today I'm joined by...
Nerdarchist Dave.
What do you do in a world where the players get along, but the characters don't? Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So Adam submitted a GM911 over on the Facebook page through the messenger over there. If you guys have a GM911, you can send them to nerdarchy@gmail.com, or you can tweet them at us, hashtag GM911. Yeah, you can even submit them at the messenger. The best place, though, is actually to send them over to email address. We'll stick them in a file where at least we have one place we can contain them. So Adam, basically, here's the scenario. He's got a party. The players all work together. They play well together. But apparently, it doesn't sound like they're playing the good guys, per se. Because he uses words like infamy, and they all hate the same people. So that's the glue that binds them together. And but he wants to know, how do I make them like each other in game?
So they hate the same people. They're gathering infamy together, and they're earning money together. And this is what is currently tying them together. So,
I've got two quick things before we get into anything real in depth. First of all, have you considered a unity parade? If that doesn't work, I don't know what will. Secondly, you could just ask them what would make your characters like each other, and then try and engineer that instead of you trying to guess what would make their characters like each other. Or what do you got?
So there's always, regardless of whether you're playing a good game or an evil game, you have a big bad. You have whatever the threat is. And if that thing that you're eventually going to have them fight, be it sooner or later, is messing with all of them, that combined hatred will inspire that team feeling. It's like, okay, well, we need to bring this guy down. And when you do stuff together, regardless of what your motives are, camaraderie happens. And if the players are forcing it not to, that's the player's choice, not the character's choice.
Yeah, because it sounds like they're doing that already, right? It's just that they don't particularly care for each other. It's just the other things they don't care for more. Now, if it's not disruptive to gameplay, then I don't know that you need to fix it, honestly. Like, it may fix itself over time if certain situations happen within the game. And by situations, I don't mean things you, the GM, try to engineer, because most of the time that stuff doesn't work nearly as well as you just running the game, and then the players will do things, and it'll be by their design, and that's going to be so much more authentic than you trying to force them to be friends in the game
or engineer it.
Yeah.
So, classic example of I don't like you, you don't like me is the Legolas Gimli in Lord of the Rings. And yeah, they're on a quest together. They don't like each other. There's, racial stereotyping and what have you. And by the time you get down to the end of it, they've got each other's backs. They're friends. Through a little bit of competition and fun and danger, everybody's happy at the end. And it's awesome. Now, if you've got those type of situations where they're not at each other's throats and they've got that tension going on that's offering some really great role playing, don't try to make that go away. Run with it. See what's going on, because that tends to make the relationship that much stronger when it does get to that peak, that instance where it's like, all right, yeah, we're buddy now.
Like, point in case, Firefly, right? Nobody liked Jane, but everybody actually wanted him on their side when things went sideways. He was a good person to be able to rely on.
And Jane, he was out for the money. He didn't care as much about being good. But I mean, if you really watch the moments, like specifically when he's not talking, he cares about them because it's a family that's there.
Unless there's a lot of money involved.
Unless there's a lot of money involved. But it's a situation where if you wind up, working with, the people long enough, you can get to some really cool role-playing scenes. But it really depends upon the players at the table. And as Dave says, if you just talk to them, either individually or as a group, and say like, okay, what kind of cohesion is lacking? What do we need to do so that we don't get into a protracted, well, this is eventually going to end in, player on player bloodshed, which I as a DM don't want.
Right. So, and when I say talk to him, I mean too, like, you need to go, well, Bob, what do you feel, your character Liam needs to do or see happen in the group for him to change how he feels about those players? Like, you talk to them about the actual character development. The other thing too is we don't know how long this game's been going. Like, they could have did 2 sessions, and the DM's like, oh my god, they're not bosom buddies yet. We have no idea. Or they could have been playing for 3 years together, and they all still pretty much hate each other.
I, as a DM, I don't worry about inter-party relations, mainly because
it's for the players to figure out.
That is for the players to figure out. So there's times that, all right, well, this guy doesn't like that guy. All right, well, that's not for me to deal with. Now, if that player comes to me and says, look, I really don't like what this character is doing, I'm not comfortable with this avenue, but we kind of did a session 0 and a contract that I'm not allowed to do PvP. What are my options here? Okay, well then we can have something mediated in game, either with another player or with an NPC, and things can be talked out and resolved not without combat. If there is no party contract, no session 0, and PvP is totally allowed, and that player comes to me, it's like, well, I don't really like PvP. Why don't you out of game talk to the other player and see what can be hashed out of game, and see whether there can be a middle ground for both your characters, and see what winds up transpiring. Again, that's a player caring about what's going on versus you as a GM caring about what's going on. So you have to really look at it from all sides. If everybody's having fun, including yourself, and there is progression and there's no actual animosity and blades being drawn, let it go and see where it goes.
Right. If it's not disrupting the game, it really doesn't matter. If they're still playing and they're working together, but they're not working together the way you want them to, well, that's okay. It might develop over time anyway. It's like, who hasn't had a job where they've had to work with people they don't like? Your boss doesn't go and get everyone together and go, all right, we need to hug this out and make sure you guys are best friends. No, he doesn't fucking care as long as the job's getting done. He doesn't care if you guys like each other and hang out and have beers after work or not. And an adventure party doesn't necessarily have to be any different than that.
Right. It's literally, it's a problem that's not really a problem yet, unless it starts disrupting the game. So what do you guys think? How do you handle this kind of thing in your game? Do you have any advice for Adam that we wound up missing out? It's a great place to do that. That's down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can follow us over on Facebook.
So until next time, stay nerdy.